Peace and blessings, family. This is your brother Asarimhotep with the Mandenge Institute for the Advancement of Science and Culture. This is the Mbongi, and today we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Mbeleck Mandenge, and he is going to talk about his life, his research, and we're going to dive into his book. If I'm pronouncing this correctly, Lakota Le Mbog or Mbog, and we'll get the proper pronunciation when our guest comes on the show. So we're going to talk about the Basa of Cameroon and some related concepts from the culture. So all that and more when we return in just a second. Welcome, and we are back for another episode of the Mbongi. And today's guest, I have been, reading his material for a number of years now, and I've even cited him in my work. And, he has provided a lot of good information on the Basa of Cameroon. And this is the book that, we will discuss a little bit of today, which was mentioned, Lakota Le Mbog. And I know I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but we'll get the correct pronunciation in a bit. And it's subtitled The Worldview and Social Organization of the Basa People of Cameroon. And our guest is a professor of sociology. I think he is in Ghana right now, but originally from Cameroon, as mentioned earlier. And so we're going to get more into his life and study and research, and some of his new material that he has recently published as well. And so before we do that, I just want to remind everyone to check out the Patreon page. That is patreon.com/asarimhotep. And consider, helping the channel by joining a Patreon and joining one of the tiers. And you'll be helping not only the channel itself, but also the upcoming film, Chiana Into, which will explore the relationship between the ancient Egyptian cultures and into speakers of Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa. So, if you want to contribute, consider joining the Patreon page. And again, that address is patreon.com/asarimhotep. And lastly, I have a book coming out sometime in August. It's Chiluba Maweja, Yoruba Orisha, an ancient Egyptian Ak, an exploratory etymological study. So this will be the first text of ours from the Martin Delaney Center for Egyptology. And we will have a whole show dedicated to the emergence of the online center as well as the scholarship. And so we'll be showing the relationship between these three particular concepts. And it is, we're one step closer. We're in the editing phase of the text. So make sure y'all keep that in mind. And lastly, even though I said the other thing was lastly, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So make sure that you That's right. Hit the like and make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell so that you will be notified every time we upload videos like this. And so, help us reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers and, help the channel grow, because when you help us grow, we get to bring on more dynamic speakers and researchers and just overall good people that you would want to hear from. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in our guest. And how are you doing, sir? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All righty. So I want to say welcome to the program, and thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom with us. And it is a pleasure and an honor to have you here. And so I look forward to this discussion. And again, thank you very much for joining us. And so, and I know you was trying to help me pronounce it, but can you say your name again so that people can know how to properly pronounce it?
Okay. African names are not usually pronounced exactly as they are spelled.
Mm-hmm.
My names happen to be straight, easy to pronounce, just as they are spelled. Mbeleck, Mandenge. Mbeleck, Mandenge.
Listen, I appreciate it greatly. See, when you see the name, at least us English speakers, we want to pronounce the M in Mbeleck. And so we would say Mbeleck, and that's not how you say it. But so thank you for correcting us.
Not only the pronunciation, the sound. It's Mbeleck. Mbeleck is different. Mbeleck is the name. If you change the sound, change the meaning, it could mean something else.
Indeed. Well, again, thank you. And for those who aren't familiar with you and your work, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are from, your ethnic group, and what led you to your particular field of study and research, and we'll go from there.
Oh, okay. Greetings, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's my first experience ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pleased to be a guest. On my background and education, I would be concise. This is supposed to be an event which engages scholars. Being of the old school, whatever that means, I take what I am doing very seriously. This for me would not be an opportunity for show business. What is wonderful or even special about me? I was born in 1959 at Ekuna in the former British Southern Cameroon. And I am a native of Bakembe, in Babimbi, in Basaa land, in what is today La République du Cameroon. I always introduce myself as Monsieur Mbeleck Mandenge. I hold 3 university degrees, including a doctorate. I would readily identify myself with ethno-sociologists. For a brief period, I was an instructor for sociology-related courses in the University of Douala, and at the same time, a visiting lecturer for main currents in anthropological thought and for research methods in the University of Basa, all universities of Cameroon. Presently, I would consider myself officiously as a displaced person. I'm not living in Cameroon. My last employment in that country, in my last employment in that country, I was a lecturer in the Catholic University of Bamenda. Is that good enough?
Oh yes, yes, indeed. And hold on one sec. Oh, there we go.
One question, last question. What's how I got interested in the research which grips me? The answers to that question are multiple. The basic one is I needed a higher degree to qualify for teaching with tenure. Secondly, where I was born. I was born in the former British Southern Cameroon, but my place of origin is in the Republic of Cameroon. So, up till when I was 20, I had not lived among my people. Actually, I was living elsewhere. So somehow I thought that I needed to know where I come from. And even though I speak Basa and I've been socialized into Basa customs right there where I was, I wanted to have a direct experience of living among the Basa people. Yeah.
All righty. Yes, and speaking of the Basa, you know, I've read a number of texts that discuss their origins, and even in your text, you mention some of the oral tradition and where the Basa originate. And so, based on your research, you know, where do the Basa come from, and how does those migrations, you know, play into the development of the Basa culture itself?
Rightly, I related to the origin of the Basa people, drawing from mythology and history.
Right.
Yeah. And from oral tradition, from my conversations with the Basa people, some of them who were knowledgeable according to oral, according to oral traditions which are common in the area. Basa people themselves always refer to Egypto as their place of origin. Yeah. In my book, I mentioned a book in the Bible which relates the movement of Hebrew-speaking people from Egypt. It is said that when they return to what is supposed to be the promised land, they didn't make the place empty. There were people there. And among the people who were there before they got there were the Basa people came. They are among those people who were in those lands at the time. And the Israelis had to force them to move away. This was in the year, this was about 930 BC. And they moved southwards into the Sinai, and they had to cross over to the African continent. And the Basa people occur in old literature, in the works of Herodotus, and even in the works of Ibn Khaldun, among black people who were there in the early period, as related in the Bible story.
All right. I appreciate that.
The thesis that the various Basa peoples, as they are found in different parts of Africa, are one people.
I see.
Get some support from the fact that in the local myths of origin among these peoples, there are several points which overlap, and sometimes entire plots seem to be complete in the myth of one group of Basa people, as you would find in the myth of some other group of Basa people, even though they are not at the same spot. The Basa people, you would find the Basa people on the African continent, in Senegal, in Togoland, in Sierra Leone, even in Nigeria, in Congo Brazzaville, and Congo Kinshasa.
Indeed, indeed. And I want to move on to this book here. I know this was published in 2012, 2013. Let me see what 2012. And can you tell us a bit about this book here? And what is it about? What is Lakota Mbog or Mbog, or is it just Bog? How do you pronounce it? And what does this mean here?
Okay. Perhaps I should begin with short statements.
Alrighty.
The title of the book Likora Limbo actually is the shortened version of the title of my PhD thesis.
Mm.
The longer title is Native Horizons, Authority Relations, and the Management of Crisis among the Basa people of southwestern Cameroon.
Mm.
Yeah. That title suggests a problem area of research, namely the area of worldviews and socio-political structure and relations. In the thesis, I examine the events of power and authority relations and the various ways in which they articulate an underlying epistemology and worldview.
Mm.
Specifically, the problem area relates to aspects of social control which arise from the grip of a worldview on a people's behavior.
Mm.
In specific terms, in my thesis, I named Mbog, Mbog as the worldview of the Basa people. The question is to fathom the extent to which this worldview underpins social organization in the specific domain of, of political power and, and power relations. The term Likora it is spelled Likoda as you pronounce it, but in Basa, the G is pronounced as if it is an R. So it is Likora Limbok. So
Mm.
the term Likora in the title derives from the Basa verb court. Court. Court means to assemble.
Mm.
The verb would be used in reference to things which are assembled or parts of a thing which are fitted together to give a whole. That far on the on a first statement on Mbok.
All right.
Um, well, Mbok, Mbok can be thought of as an ordering system, a system of meanings. The worldview of the Basa people of Cameroon, the framework of ideas and beliefs through which the Basa people interpret the world and interact with it, the
Mm.
way of looking at things among the Basa people. So, related to social structure, it permits every aspect of Basa life. It has a kinship dimension. It has a power and political order dimension. It has an economic dimension. It has a social control dimension. It has an identity dimension. It has an ethnicity dimension. It has a personality dimension.
Hmm.
And somehow, Mbog is equal to mythology and history of the Basa people.
Mhm.
Um, can I continue?
Yeah, you can. If you like, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. For a society to be at all, the possession of a steering component is fundamental. There should be a steering component of the import of an ideology which informs every domain of social life, and especially which informs the domains of the realms of pattern maintenance and of social control. For the Basa people, it is Mbok, which is that thing which steers the society.
Hmm.
It is Mbok which enables predictability in interpersonal relations and direction and continuity in being when situations which conduce to sharing or which themselves mean uncertainty and thus crisis arise. Mbok amounts to a sort of matrix within which a sort of grid within which the entire social formation is mapped. The tissue of the interstices of the fabric of society. Mbok is crucial to the substance of categories of understanding time, space, cause, thingness, personality, and such others, the most universal properties of things by which all other things are located. It provides the framework of the posture of the Basaman. A society which is well organized, one in which the interests of both the individual and the society are protected. The society recognizing individual rights to freedom and self expression, in addition, the society recognizing the individual's personal rights to freedom and self expression in action and in thought, while the individual identifies himself with his society and seeks to conform as far as possible to its time tested ideals and indispensable requirements. The moral, judicial principles, religious doctrines, norms, and distinguishing activities of the Basa people were instituted as edicts to meet the needs of cohesion, the needs of fraternity, and especially the needs of belonging.
Hmm. Are you still there?
Otherwise,
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Mbog is a moral collectivity, a fundamentally normative system, a structure of beliefs and values. Yeah, it's a structure of beliefs and values which constrained men to act in certain ways with the ultimate goal of reproducing society in a more or less stable form.
Hmm.
In the exchange we are having, we can state Mbok in the way we have just done. Actually, as you might have discerned, Mbok is a meaning construct. Let me see. Think of Mbok as a shared, inclusive environment, that of the Basa people, which informs assumptions they make when they come in contact with other Basa people and when they interact with one another. The meaning of the term Mbok in its implication in numerous events in Basa social life are diverse. Mbok may mean legend, folk wisdom, the sovereignty of the people, a dispensation, the land, and everywhere. From a dynamic of view, Mbok may be a process which involves development of the potentialities of the human as well as the cosmic with a view linking man to nature and nature to man. Mbok, it will seem, points to a perspective, a conception, nature of things, and standard relates what is acceptable conduct among the Basa people, built around rituals and taboos which require its grip, the totality of intercourse. Mbok as a concept or as a caption is always in the singular. As an institute, it takes different forms which are distinct from one another in different parts of Basa land. Variety in terms of organizational coherence, the density of the content of the principle of Mbok, and in terms of the grip of Mbok on interpersonal relations. That far on Mbok.
All righty.
I,
I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
am through with my on Mbok. and I've stated
Mhm.
the gist
I appreciate it greatly,
of
and
educational thesis.
I'm sharing my
I
screen
can
for
see
the.
the benefit people.
I'm sorry.
It's,
Can you hear me? Alrighty. Oh, what I was doing was sharing my screen. Um,
Hello.
from. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was sharing my screen for the.
Yeah, I said I go with my first statement on the concept of Mbog and the
Alrighty.
essence of
Yes, I heard you, and I know there's a time delay, uh, in our communication. So for those
it's
who
all
are
right
listening,
seeing what you are doing.
yes,
Yes, I can
while
hear you. 5 and 5.
alrighty, yeah, what I was saying is that um, while you were reading, I was putting up a few slides for the listener in terms of how you define Mbok,
Hello.
and
Check it.
it's in the page numbers from your text where you give the various definitions that you can see on the screen here. And um, in my research, because I deal with the language and linguistics, I have equated the word Mbok to be a cognate of the ancient Egyptian word Maat. And I'm not the first to suggest that there's a relation between Mbok or Mbok and Maat. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Mandenge out of Cameroon, but he has also suggested that there's a relationship between the concept of Mbok and Maat, but he doesn't do it linguistically like I do, and I show the relationship between the ancient Egyptian and the Basa terms, and we can get into that again in the future, and so uh, our guest has come back in, so I'm gonna bring him in, and let me pause that. Nope, I need to remove that. Okay, there we go. There you go, sir. Can you hear me well now?
Yes, I can hear you. Please.
All right. Yeah, and I know we're having a little bit of internet connectivity issues. So hopefully everything, comes out. So I was just mentioning some concepts from your book. And I think right before you went out, I was asking if you were familiar with Dr. Mandenge out of the University of Yaoundé. Um, let me let me show him here. Are you familiar with Dr. Pierre Mandenge?
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me? Alrighty. It looks like we're still having issues here. Can you hear me? Let me see.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear
Hello.
you. Yes. Hold on. I'm texting him
Hello.
right now. Yes. I can hear you. Alrighty. So it appears. Okay, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Alrighty. Yes. So our guest is in Ghana right now, and who he is teaching out there. And for those who are just joining, Dr. Mandenge is or was explaining the concept of Mbog.
Mbeleck, Mandenge.
I'm sorry. Oh, I thought you said something. And so we were getting into the title of his book. This was released in 2012. Lekora. You said it's the D is an R sound. Limbach. And he gave us some insight into the particular concept of Mbog. And before he got disconnected, I was discussing my research because I use his research in my text, Aluja Volume 2, Chiena into Religion and Philosophy. And so I equate it with the ancient Egyptian concept of Maat. And I demonstrate the relationship between the two concepts linguistically. And this book has been a tremendous help because most of the information on Mbog is written in Basa. And of course, I don't know Basa language. And or it's in French in a few articles. And so I was asking, are you familiar with Dr. Omendiji out of University of Yaoundé?
Doctor, I didn't hear the name. Can you
I
say them
would,
again, please?
and I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly, so please forgive me. But Pierre Omendiji.
Yeah. Ndiri. Ndiri. The name. I am familiar with the name. I am familiar with his work.
Yes. So this is. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see. Ndiri.
So yeah, this is the professor who I was talking about, and
Ndiri. 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 That's how it is pronounced. Ndiri.
um,
Ndiri.
Digi.
Ndiri.
All right. Oh, and you said the G sound sounds like an R.
Yeah, but for this one, okay, it is pronounced as it is in English.
Okay.
It is when it comes after the vowel O.
Okay. Oh, I see. So like in the word how I was pronouncing it, Lakota, the D was, or you said the G.
No. The Koralimbok, that is the pronunciation of the title of my thesis. But
Okay.
here, the name Ndiri, the D is as it is in French and in English. Ndiri.
Oh, I see. All righty. I'm getting it. I will have this by the end of the day. But yes, Dr. I've been saying Indigi for so long, it's hard for me to say it otherwise.
Indiri.
Indiri.
Okay, you can say Indigi, but a typical Basa person will say Indiri.
Indiri. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it. By the end of the day, I'm gonna get it. But and we have how do you pronounce this name? Michael Ione?
Okay, of that one, Ione.
All right, Ione.
Michel. Ione. Michel Oye.
Michel.
Michel Oyene.
All right. And so, both of these scholars have equated Mbok with Maat. And so, I've done some research, and I would love to share it with you in the future. But I want you to, if you can, talk about this concept here. And I'm probably pronouncing this wrong too, but Mbog, Mboji, Mbog. Is that how you pronounce it? This word?
Mbombo.
Oh, Bombok. Okay, Bombok.
Mbombo.
See, I never hear it said aloud, so this is you're teaching me here. So Bombok.
Bombok.
Yeah, Bombok. All right. And so what is a Bombok?
That's quite. Let me see. Linguists have tried to get to the meaning in the manner of etymologists. They break the words into two, and the meanings in the two words are somehow worked into the meaning of the term. I did not do that. I am a sociologist, stroke social anthropologist. I don't claim to be an expert in everything. But one Professor Joseph Bouy, in his master's degree thesis, uh, gave that explanation, that the one which proceeds from breaking the word into two and talking about the different meanings, different pronunciations and meanings. So the word can be broken into two: Mbom and Mbok, Mbom and Mbok. Mbom stands for the forehead, and Bok stands for sort out, to sort out things. But I wouldn't go into that. You would find a brief statement on that in the details of my thesis. The term Bombok among the Basa people of Cameroon is usually translated as patriarch. Actually, in Bombok, among the Basa people, is an initiated person. One who has been initiated into the sciences, as the Basa people understand the term. As an African, you probably know what I'm talking about. To continue my statement on the Mbok, who is Mbok, what is his role? In Basa wisdom, it is God Himself who placed the Bombok at the head of society. So in the singular it is Bombok. In the plural you have Bombok. You don't say Bomboks. The plural Basa. The plural for Bombok in Basa is Bombok. So in Basa wisdom, it is God Himself who placed the Bombok at the head of the society. In space and in time, the Bombok define the group and guide its existence as a distinct entity among other entities on the planet Earth. Yeah. Before the colonial era, the ancestors of the Basa people of today set the group. They decided on what the group should look like. And they decided that in a Basa group, the Mbombok comes first. So among the Basa in general, the Basa as a group, a larger group, the Bambombok come first among the people. Yeah. Bambombok mostly are chosen from people of a certain age, grown-ups, not necessarily old people as it is understood today. The average age in Cameroon is about 56, but in the old society, one would be a grown-up long before he or she attains 56. So the term for the group from which the Bambombo arises is Mingunu Mibot. Mingunu Mibot translated is old people. But old people, the term old among the people is relative. In Basa land, at the age of 45, if you are going to die in 3 or 4 years' time, you're already an age grown-ups. Well, mature, not from teenagers or young people. So possessing plenty of experience of a certain kind due to a long life, having scaled all the stages of initiation into Mbog, Bambombok are men of wisdom and may be regarded as custodians of the customs. Being, for most of the time, the oldest in their lineages or the spokesmen. Yeah. For most of the time, they are the most senior in age. And sometimes we hear the term Kinge. Kinge refer to a Mbok. Kinge means Kinge. Kinge.
All right.
Means voice. Voice. So if it is explained, when they say somebody is Kinge among the Basa people, it means that he is the one with the voice to speak for the group. Mistakenly, people have taken Kinge to mean king. It's not king. Kinge comes from king, that voice. So when it is used for a category of persons, it relates to what they do in the society. they speak when the position of the society is required. It is they who speak for every group, every lineage, every family, every community. So the term is something here as waking up. This designates the one among them who is the authorized voice. So long, borrow long. But that could be translated as the spokesman. Which also relates to the term king, which also relates to the term bombo. Yeah. So far,
Indeed.
person.
So the Mbongbok, Mbobok, I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing it all wrong. Mbombok is the
Bombok.
Mbombok.
Bomb,
All right,
bombok.
Mbombok.
Bombok. Good.
All right, Mbombok. This is as you have written, and I'll go to page 422. You say this is a senior dignitary, and then you have in these kind of brackets that Nkambog or Mbombog, Hiku Mbog, and such others must be Ngueles, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but who I have it defined as the those of noble birth, or landed nobility, and uh, and you say that this person is in a direct line of descent from the founder of the group, in the council of the Ba Mbombag, or the Kora Liambag. The elected participant sat with a deliberative voice by virtue of the status of his lineage, of his tribe, of his ethnic group, or of the Basa nation. He was the depository of power. At each of these three levels, he was the personification of Mbog or Mbog. And you just mentioned the relationship between being able to speak or command and lead and speak for the group. And I wanted you to touch on, if you could, the role of Mbok as the social steering mechanism, and exactly what do you mean by that in terms of the behavior or the expectation of the people, the Basa people, in relation to Mbok. And matter of fact, I'll ask it in this context. I'm gonna share my screen and let me know if you can see the screen. And if you can define this term for me. Let me. Is it Ligwe Lit Mbok? I don't.
Great.
All right. And in terms, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, and what is this? Are you familiar with this term in the middle?
The
Liu?
script, the script is not. I'm not familiar. That O with an X on top of it, I wouldn't know.
All right. Yeah, I got it from a it's a dictionary, it's a Basa dictionary that I have, and their orthography is a lot different than what I've read in other texts.
Okay.
So, this definitely uh, does something in terms of trying to pronounce it. But it's under the entry of culture, and essentially, this phrase, that which gives birth to Mbok.
Yeah.
And uh-huh.
Ligwe, Ligwe is the Basa term for the birth, the birth
Mm,
of the birth of. So Ligwe Limbok, how Mbok came into being.
hmm, let's see. And
Ligwe Limbok,
uh,
how Mbok came into being. So literally, Ligwe in Basa refers to the birth. So Ligwe Limbok,
alrighty. Now,
are we
uh,
together?
I'm sorry.
I said Ligwe Limbok, the translation in English would be how Mbok came into being. Even though
Mm,
the term Ligwe is the Basa term of the birth
mm,
of, the birth of. So Ligwe
uh,
Limbok would read how Mbok came into being from
let's see.
Mbok, Mbok understood in all its meanings. It could be
Now,
customs, it could be genealogy, it could be ancient history, it could be migrations, the migrations of people. Mbok,
hmm,
as I said, has implications in various sectors of activities of society.
indeed. Now, you talk about, and this will be my last general question on Mbak. Um, that it's and I've seen this written in other spaces, that it also refers to the world and the universe. And is there a relationship between Mbok and any kind of creation narrative? Like, what is the role of Mbok in the development of the universe itself?
Um, well, we are considering a people, the
Hmm.
Basa people,
Let's
and the
see.
world we refer to is the world of the Basa people.
Ah, okay.
The term Bok occurs in Basa mythology and history
Hmm.
uh, from the beginning of time.
Hmm.
So among the Basa people, that term Bok can mean history and mythology of their origin.
mm,
They refer to a rock. I mentioned it in my thesis. The name of that rock is Mbog Li'a. Li'a stands for a rock.
mm,
In Basa history and mythology, it is related that the Basa people, as I said, the world, people, the Basa people arose, they emerged from the rock. So Mbog Li'a can be translated as the people of the rock.
mm,
So rock is Li'a, Mbog is people.
mm,
Biology, it is related that they emerged from Mbog Li'a. There is a rock in Basa land which bears that name. Uh, it doesn't bear the name, but the name, there's a rock which is referred to as the rock from which they originated. The name is
mm,
Ngolipondo, Ngolipondo,
mm,
or Mbo, Ngolipondo, or Ngolituba.
mm,
It is a rock. At the same time, it is a cave.
mm,
Ngok, the tuba, when it is translated, would mean a rock with a hole. But a rock with a hole in English would be a cave.
mm,
A rock with a hollow within would constitute a cave. So there is a rock in Basa land, Ngolipondo, that is the name, or Ngolituba, depending on who is speaking. If it's a very old man who is speaking, he will refer to Ngolipondo. But if it's a young person who has learned of it from the city, he will refer to Ngolituba. That is name, that is and history. That means the place we are. Bok is people. So in that term, Bok are, the meaning of Bok there is people. But Bok, in another expression, as I've just given in the example of Bombok, Bok,
mm,
when it is related to a patriarch, refers to the one who speaks for the group, the first person. So in relation to the origin of humanity, as the Basa understand it, man arose from Ngolipondo. So the Basa people are the people of the rock. The rock is Li'a. Li'a in Basa is rock. Mbok is people. So Mbok, Ngolituba, Mbok Li'a translates as the people of the rock.
mm. All right.
The term world here is the world
Uh,
in the imagery of the Basa people.
I see. And that's important to note. Because I think in a lot of people's creation stories, as it is translated into English, they may think that it refers to the ultimate universe itself when it just may be the people's understanding of their particular origins. And you kind of even get that sense even in the Bible, to where, you know, the Bible really speaks more so about the Hebrews origin with their Adam and Eve mythology, and which would explain, how Adam and Eve sons were able to find uh, wives because there were other people created outside, but they were more so concerned with their people and their story. And so the Hebrew world referred to, that narrow group. But but um I said I wasn't going to keep you too long, and so we're coming on an hour and 12 minutes. And so I just want to thank you for sharing your research and studies with us. And so I wanted to bring you on to get more and more people, especially here in the United States, familiar with your work. You have a number of articles on various different topics on academia.edu that I want the people to visit. So I'm going to put a link at the bottom to his academia.edu page, and you can read some of his academic articles. But I encourage y'all to go to Amazon.com and get this book. And he has a new book, or a relatively new book, out. And can you speak about your new book, or your latest book, and what's the subject of that before you go?
My latest book. Which one are you referring to? Are you referring to Cameroon? Are you referring to
It's I'll pull
Nyando
it up.
Nyando?
Hold on one second. I'm gonna pull it up. It is because I know there's one book, it looks like it's written in German. I can't read German, but we can talk about that book, um, for those who do read German. Um, Hold on one sec. I think it's the sociology. What is?
Actually, it is written in English. It might have been translated into German.
Oh, I see.
Sociology of knowledge of the Basa people.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one I'm looking for, and I haven't gotten that one yet, and I plan on getting that soon. But can you talk about that text? Hello,
We
are you
found it.
there?
Have a summary. Okay, let me. Yeah, give me a little time.
Alrighty, no problem. And let me. There we go. So I think this is the one that you're talking about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the images up. Let me go back, and there we go. The sociology of knowledge. Alrighty. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to
Oh, okay, okay.
mm,
Okay.
Can you
I
hold on one second?
have not prepared. I've not. I don't have a prepared
Understood.
statement on that.
I understand.
Um, uh, an aspect I raised
Do you see it?
in so it's one aspect of the Basa world as because the worldview of the people and how the people live.
Hmm.
Yeah, as I said, it's a development of my initial statement on the relationship, on the many implications of Mbog in domains of society.
Hmm.
So Mbog is a steering component, a guiding principle.
Hmm. All right. So
In
yes.
sociology, okay, the term worldview is translated as a Weltanschauung.
Hmm.
So it is the Weltanschauung aspect of Mbog, related, Mbog considered as the Weltanschauung of the Basa people. And I try to give specific examples of how Mbog is implicated, it's implied directly in instances of Basa social life.
Hmm. All righty. Yes, and
It is
I'm sure.
it is much less it's much less data and work of methodology and um, it's a very theoretical exercise. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Actually, that material is postdoctoral. Um,
I see.
yeah.
Yes, for those watching, I have um, screenshots of the text. So this is the 2012 text that we've been discussing this past hour, and then um, this text here I think was released in 2020. With the Cameroon, brutality as a mode of governance, and then the sociology of knowledge of the Basa people of Cameroon. And so I think that came out this year, right? At the beginning of this year. And so this is the latest text. And so I want each and every one of you who are watching to get this text. And believe me, it's if it's anything like this text here, then it's going to be full of good information, and you're going to be taking a lot of notes. And I am very appreciative of his scholarship, and he has provided a lot of information. I don't even think he really understands how much he has given us, and so I appreciate all of his work, and I continue to read over and study, and I'm gonna get these pronunciations right one of these days. I'm just gonna have to learn Basa, and so I can converse and say all of the words correctly. Um, but I do appreciate again your time and joining us. And I know that there's some connection issues, but you stuck with us and you provided us some very good insight. And so, are there any last words that you want to give?
Oh. It's a first experience. When you
Mhm.
invited me, somehow I felt challenged.
Mhm.
I I was a bit reticent, not
Mhm.
not knowing what to expect. After
Yeah.
watching the presentation of others,
Mhm. Looks like he froze up on us. Hopefully, our guest is still there. Um, if you're listening, it seems like you're frozen, so we can't hear you. Um, but yeah, Dr. Mandenge, I've been trying to get him on for a while, and so he has, agreed and blessed us, with his presence, and so hopefully we will, have him back on, with better connection. So he is in Ghana because of the conflicts in Cameroon. So he's not in his home base where he would normally be. So he's currently at a school, but he lives in a rural area. So the area that he lives in, if he was to do the interview, it would have been a lot more choppy. But I hope that you are able to kind of piece together, you know, um, what was being said by our guest, and uh, we will, kind of revisit, some things. So I'll be doing some more uh, or having some more conversations about the study of Mbok, and I'll be bringing on some other guests from Cameroon, who are familiar with and are in the tradition itself, and can give us some greater insight. And so it is a fantastic institution, and I think that those of us, those especially those of us in the diaspora, who are really trying to reconstruct a culture and a social system, should really get to understand this concept of Mbak out of Cameroon, and especially because it equates to the concept of Maat in ancient Kemet. You'll get some insight and understand how Maat was it was the culture. So when you want to talk about the religion and the culture of ancient Kemet, it was Mbak, what we call as Maat. And so, the details of all of that, again, you can check out my text, Aluja Volume 2, which discusses it. And I plan on doing more insight to that because I'm writing a whole book on Ma'at and the god Ra as two sides of the same coin. And so I want to thank our guests, Dr. Mbeleck Mandenge of the Basa, or the Basa people of Cameroon. And I want to thank all of you who are listening. And the next interview, I was supposed to interview him today as well, but it got postponed, and so we're trying to set up the exact date, but it's going to be a week from now, and that is Dr. Modupe Oduyoye. And so any of y'all who are familiar with my work should know Dr. Oduyoye's text, because I cite heavily from them. And he is a Yoruba language scholar. He's a linguist and a theologian. and he has written many, many texts. He is an elder of elders, and he will be blessing us with his presence. So I'll be interviewing him. He's in Nigeria, and we're just waiting for him to come back to Ibadan, and we're going to have a real in-depth discussion, you know, about Yoruba language, culture, and its relationship to Hebrew as well as the ancient Egyptian languages. And so, with that said, make sure again that you subscribe and like the channel, and like this video. And y'all can reach me at these various different social media outlets. And with that said, until next time, peace.